Chock and Bates, Fournier Baudry and Cizeron, will perform rhythm dances at the 2026 Olympics. On February 9th, ice dancers will perform rhythm dances at the Milan Olympics. This is American Christina Carreira in the photo with the most important attribute of an Olympian, a passport from the country she represents at competitions. Not all world-class figure skaters can boast such a passport, and Christina herself waited many years for one. Her story ended happily. She received a ticket to Milan, although she likely missed out on a gold medal due to bureaucracy. Christina is originally from Canada, but has been competing for the United States in ice dancing for almost 12 years, partnering with Anthony Ponomarenko. Together, they have won 2 bronze medals at the 4 Continents Championships, 4 Grand Prix medals, and have reached the podium at the National Championships 4 times. Throughout the Olympic cycle, they improved their results, and in the spring of 2025, they entered the world top 5 for the first time in short. They were a solid second behind team leaders Madison Chock and Evan Bates. Such a track record almost guaranteed a trip to the Games, but access was hampered by citizenship issues. Carreira began applying for citizenship 7 years ago. I started the process when I turned 18. You just couldn't do it before. First, you had to get an athlete visa. Then I applied for a visa for alien with extraordinary ability. It was really hard. I tried 2 or 3 times, the skater said in an interview with NBC. For the O1A visa, competition results, media coverage, and expert reviews are crucial. Medals from international competitions are a great asset, but officials helped expedite the process. The United States Figure Skating Federation was very helpful. Justin Dillon called my parents and lawyer and wrote letters of recommendation. The U.S. Olympic and Paralympic committees also wrote them for me. Many people helped us. That's how they reached Michigan Senator Gary Peters and Congresswoman Lisa McClain. In 2020, Christina received a green card. With it, she doesn't need a visa, can work and study freely, and can apply for citizenship after 5 years. It would have been difficult for the pair to break through to the 2022 Games in Beijing. Due to internal competition, they finished 7th at the U.S. Pre-Olympic Championships, but Milan 2026, under these conditions, already looked like an achievable goal. The problem is that the green card opens some opportunities but limited others. Living outside the U.S. with it is prohibited, it would be revoked. And in 2021, the pair changed coaching staff, moving from Igor Shpilban's group to the Montreal Ice Dance Academy. Not to the main building, but to Scott Moire's Ontario office. Carreira spent 4 years on a hectic schedule, living in Michigan and traveling to Canada 5 days a week for training. My car's mileage is off the charts. I had a 3-year lease. I got it right after moving to London. And when I returned it, it had over 100,000 kilometers on it. They asked, "What did you do to it?" Now I have a different car, it's about a year old, and it has, I think, around 60,000 kilometers on it. It's all very difficult, especially in winter. The highway is practically nothing but fields, it's very windy, and if it snows, it becomes truly terrifying. Physical and emotional fatigue accumulated. Christina constantly felt lonely, as she was left without friends, a partner, and family on the road and at home. But she listened to dozens of podcasts and became friends with the border guards. They're always very kind to me, especially the American ones, because I arrive at roughly the same time every day, and usually see the same people. Many of them know us, watch our performances, and ask where my next competition is, and how I'm doing. Now Carreira will move much closer to the rink. The pause before the next stage of document processing ended in the summer of 2025, 6 months before the Games. But even then, the skaters weren't sure they'd make it. I was really nervous. To get to the Olympics, you had to register in advance and provide a passport. And mine, of course, wasn't suitable. It's a real honor for me to represent the USA. I think the long commutes and other sacrifices I've made make this even more meaningful. I truly feel at home here. I've lived in America for more than half my life. Competing as an American is something special for me, Christina shared. In fact, her path to the national team began even earlier, and with a much more difficult decision. She moved to the United States from Canada at 13, alone. She spoke mostly French. Her school-age English was barely enough for basic conversation. The first year in Detroit was quite difficult because I moved there with my previous partner, but he got injured a couple of months later, so I was alone there for about 8 months before I started skating with Anthony. I didn't have my parents with me, and since I didn't speak English, making friends was difficult. After a while, I settled in. Anthony helped me a lot. Ponomarenko's parents also helped. He was born in California to Soviet figure skaters Marina Klimova and Sergei Ponomarenko. 34 years ago, at the Albertville Games, they won gold in ice dancing. Now their son will compete at the Olympics. Since I was born in America, my parents decided it would be easier for me to compete here. I'm very happy to skate for the USA. They support every athlete here and wish success. Of course, I thought about skating for Russia, but I ultimately decided to compete for the USA, and it was the right thing to do. Anthony is confident. Carreira's story could fill a book, perhaps no less dramatic than Gabriela Papadakis's. However, Christina speaks of her experience with rather warm feelings. I don't think I missed out on my childhood. I didn't really have to give up anything. I wanted to move to another country to train. There were the best coaches and athletes in the world there. Living alone was difficult at a young age, but I adapted quickly. I learned to be independent and responsible. This Olympic cycle has also seen less successful Games qualifiers. The 2026 U.S. pairs skating champions, Alyssa Efimova and Misha Mitrofanov, did not qualify for Milan. Alyssa did not have time to obtain citizenship. The athletes are also together off the ice. They married in 2024. Another year, and Efimova can obtain a passport through an expedited process. This time, too, there was a chance through naturalization for citizens of particular importance to the country. The Italian national team desperately needed a strong pair, but they were unable to overcome the bureaucracy. Finnish pairs Jukka Orahara and Juho Pirinen will not compete at the Games for the same reason. The Finnish team simply lost its second quota for ice dancing. There is no one to replace Jukka and Juho. Now that this chapter is closed, I even feel relieved. More competitions lie ahead, so I'll continue working hard without worrying about anything, the partner asserts. However, things haven't been so smooth for Carreira and Ponomarenko either. Once the paperwork difficulties were behind them, another problem arose. Their results dropped, while the team's duo of Emilia Zingas and Vadim Kolesnik, Spielbahn students, strengthened. In the 2025-26 season, they won their first Grand Prix medals and at 2 events, qualifying for the final. Christina and Anthony didn't finish in the top 3 even once, finishing 4th and 5th. Their scores dropped by an average of 5-6 points. Their main competitors, on the contrary, improved their personal bests, and in January, they won the 4 Continents Championships. Kolesnik also recently received U.S. citizenship. Vadim was born in Kharkov and moved to the States in 2017. He received his passport in August, 3 months before Christina. And this likely also influenced his internal ranking. A couple with ready-made documents looks more reliable. The interview was very nerve-wracking. I answered the 6th question, there was still one left, and I was thinking, I just hope I don't screw this up. Only at the end was I able to exhale. I probably could have broken the world record for holding my breath, Vadim joked. The results of the 2026 National Championship cemented their position on the team. Zingas and Kolesnik were number 2, and Carreira and Ponomarenko were number 3. Yes, there were enough Olympic quotas for everyone. The US has 3 in ice dancing. But finishing second behind Chock and Bates gives them a chance to advance to the team competition, which means a chance to compete for gold. Ultimately, however, the United States didn't make a replacement in ice dance due to the growing competition with the Japanese. So Carreira and Ponomarenko aren't so upset anymore. They'll definitely compete in the individual competition. It wasn't all in vain.